What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode on the Streetcar Shenanigans YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe down below. We have some wicked projects going on right now, and today I want to introduce a new one that you're going to be seeing a lot of because it's my personal car that you guys have not seen yet. You guys have obviously seen the red Cobra, but that's really my father's car that we just redid for him this last season. So this time I want to introduce my 91 Notchback. Stay tuned, click subscribe. So I've had a few messages, a couple comments in the videos. What car's mine? People who do know me have been asking me for the last 18 months, where the heck's my car? This is a 351 that we're building for the Lightning. Going in my car. I wish that answer was yes, but it is not. So I want to share with you guys some information on my 91 Notch and my personal vehicle. Alright, what's up, guys? I'm here to bring you an introduction to my 91 Notchback. At this car I purchased in 2015. Heater's on, sorry I talk loud. But I purchased this car in 2015, and right away I just started throwing a bunch of parts at it. Currently it stands engineless with a Glenn's Performance sump tank. We're just gonna go back to front. With all PTFE lines except for this one. I gotta replace this one. They didn't have it in the size I needed. It has Viking coilovers, Cobra rear brakes, braced 8.8, Team Z relocated upper control arms, solid Team Z lower control arms, Ford Racing aluminum drive shaft. This is a 31 spline Eaton True Track inside of here. The wheels and tires, the rear is just the Goodyear Eagle F1s, and these are 18 by 10.5 Saline replicas. It was the cheapest wheel and tire that I could find at the time that I wanted them. It has Maximum Motorsports full-length subframe connectors, Stifler's cross member, built by me, TKO 500, all carbon fiber synchros, bronze pads, bronze shifter cup, Pro 5.0 shifter, old Lakewood bell housing that required a modern drive line, spacer plate because this transmission was actually in an SN95 in a previous life. It has all Team Z front end, coilover, lower control arms, Flex-A-Lite fan, this will probably get changed, catch can setup that we put together, and then just miscellaneous wiring. Strange 10 ways in the front with Team Z coilover kit that has the wrong spring on it, Cobra front brakes, and then once again some cheap Sumitomo tires on 18 by 8.5 wheels. There's obviously no engine. It does have all Cobra components up there. It has line lock, Cobra Master, Cobra Booster, Cervini's 4-inch cowl hood, aeromotive regulator, Ford Racing brake bias adjuster. It's got Team Z bump steer kit, Flaming River manual rack, smoked headlights, 3-piece only. We're now recently changing directions on this car from where it was to where it's going in the future. So some of the recent modifications have been the Motion Raceworks lightweight steering column. We got all the linkage done on that, so that's all set up nice and good. And if you haven't seen on our Instagram or our Facebook page, the interior of the car now has 2 Kirky seats in it, and as of right now, that's all it has. There's a lightweight column with the strange remove quick disconnect, the Motions Grant steering wheel, 2 Kirkys, Team Z seat brackets, and that's it. Everything else is stripped out of it and on the shelves over here. Now this car was a stock block 347 carbureted, just hardcore. I tried to make it as light as I can without cutting it up, and it just worked. It did really, really well. I think I never ran at the track, but I heard a lot of feelings on the street around here, and it was probably, I don't know, I would say that it was making like 4 1/4 at the rear tire through the TKO. Where do I get that number from? I don't know. Just pull it out of a hat. That's what I think it made. I think it was probably close to 500 at the flywheel with the setup it made. It was a 347 spec'd by Ford Strokers with their custom ground camshaft, a Super Vic intake manifold, 750 race carb, the fuel system that you see in there. It was just super basic, hydraulic roller, spun it to 7,200 RPM. 90% of its life, and it was a great car. Some of the, I think the best races I had with it were the red Cobra that actually like started everything for our YouTube channel and us and cars in general like several years ago, several meaning like 15. Beat that car mainly because of weight. That car is a boat, but it was making about 600 wheel
on 93 octane, and I was able to get around it with this setup, which is also on 93, just naturally aspirated, when he had probably about 150 wheel horsepower on this. So I ran it against a Stagmeyer like stage 4 ported Cobra that was pulley pretty hard. I think he said that car was going like 11.4s, like it was his job, and that was a pretty good race. I still got around him on the top end, and we weren't really going from a hard dig. I was on street tires. I wasn't on the stiff wall slicks, Weld RTSs that I also have for it. And from a dig, I think I would have really been able to get a few cars out on them and then pull away. So I think the car was probably a high 10-second car. I've seen similar combinations going even a little bit faster, but I didn't feel that it was much faster than like a low 11 or a high 10, even though everybody who rode in the passenger seat definitely thought it was. Anyway, that car was, that setup was awesome. I loved it. I wasn't expecting to build it that way, but the chassis was good, and I ended up throwing a motor together to put it in, which snowballed into doing something really great. Then fast forward like 18 months later, and that tried to escape out of the front of the block. So one day, it was like May of 2017, I bought like fire core wires. We bolted the stiff wall slicks on them that were like fresh slicks, new skinnies, put the whole setup on the car, and we just wanted to kind of go out and look for trouble. So we put the fire core wires in it. I added like 2 degrees of timing for what reason, I don't know. And then me and Ben, my brother, went out and we tried to look for some fun. Ended up making like a test hit around 12:30 in the morning on a street down by us. And when I grabbed third gear, the shift light came on, and I went to go into fourth, and the total catastrophic failure. The thing went sung up to probably 9,000 RPM, who knows at that point, but you just heard it break. There's parts everywhere. You heard parts coming out from underneath the front of the car. I just kept it straight as we were gliding over oil or antifreeze, who knows what it was, and we rolled into like the local church parking lot. Then called the tow truck, brought it home, and as soon as it broke, you know immediately what happened. And it ended up breaking the front of the crank off, splitting the block. So that was an extremely depressing time. I spent a lot of time and money on the car to get it that far, and then I knew it was totally my fault for trying to turn it up on a nice cold night, and it was flying. It was definitely flying. I mean, we heated up the tires, made a test pass, and it was the hardest pull that the car's ever made, and it broke it. So what can't be too surprised about it was kind of expecting it when we put it together. From that point forward, a lot of life situations happened, and I could not. First of all, I wasn't going to put another stock block build together in this car. It's 100% not what I want for it. 351 or 302, it was not getting a stock bottom end stock block build. So it went into storage, and until this point, I wasn't really ready to put any kind of money into the car, because I was going to stick to my original plan that I was supposed to stick with when I bought it, which was get it ready to go really fast, and then put the power plant in it to make it go really fast. And that's what today's video is about. We're finally bringing this thing back into the picture, and it's gonna go up to Wisconsin race cars, because we're gonna cut the subframe connectors out, and we're gonna put an 8.5 cert cage in this with a 25.5 floor. So if I ever need to go faster, we can put the funny car hoop in it and all that fun stuff. But we're gonna stiffen this thing up and start getting it ready to go really fast with a stick shift. So what's the future goals of this thing? I'll try to wrap this video up quickly. Today we're cutting the subframe connectors out. I'm cutting the anti-roll bar out of the back and get it ready to go to matte. The interior is already stripped out aside from the seats and steering column. The dashboard is in there loosely. So it's ready to really be welded on, but I want to make sure that he's got ample room to put the 25.5 floor as tight. If we decide to go under the car, I want it to be as tight to the floor as possible. If we go inside the car, then that'll be a different story. We'll see which way he would rather do it. So it's gonna get a bunch of chassis work to make sure that it's safe when we start going as fast as we wanna go. I mean, I really have hopes of going like low 8s. And most importantly, I want to do it with a T56. I want it to be a faceplated T56 car. It's more than likely gonna be a twin turbo 427, Dart Iron Eagle block. The turbo setup hasn't really been decided. Obviously none of that stuff's been decided. I have been talking with the guys who are going to be involved in the engine turbo setup. We kind of have an idea. It will be EFI. We're not doing any kind of blow through setup. It's going to be plated, motor plated front and back. It will be a face plated T56. And I know that stick shift racing is kind of is all of a sudden gaining more traction, and all my cars are stick shift. They're all sticks. I have not had a fast automatic car yet, and I don't intend to at this point. So this will be a banger car that is just gonna be out for blood. So I want you guys to subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions on some things that we might do to the car, we kind of have it planned out, but we're always looking for suggestions. The windshield's got to come out. We're gonna build a badass tight street car cage for it, and it's just gonna be a wicked mother effer. We're gonna make it light. We're gonna make it fast, and that Minion car that's out there right now, I mean, that's like my goal. My goal would be to be running with Yandro up there at those kind of time slips, you know, in the low 8s. That's really what it's gonna be purpose built for. So thank you guys so much for watching the intro to the 91 Notch. It's not really the standard video that we do, but I do want to show you guys that it's in here, it's getting work done, and we look forward to sharing the progress on this car, because this is going to be something that you guys can watch from start to finish, from roller to race car. We're going to be changing a lot of stuff. We're going to be going to lightweight brakes. We're going to be changing the transmission, and a lot of stuff that's in this car, we're probably going to be searching for another roller to move it over into to make more of a streetable car. But I drive everything on the street. So even when this thing is 850 cert caged, face plated, I will still be driving this motherfucker everywhere. So I do not doubt that at all. And if you know me, you know that that's 100% gonna be the case. So we will see you guys in the next video with an update of putting the motor in the Lightning. But for now, subscribe, watch the Notch, the Lightning build, that 1,000 horsepower Cobra is coming back. And thank you guys for listening to me rant about my own car for once. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.